Hi, Mbulunaka everyone, and I am Johnny, and I am the host for Psych Talk. Now, we're honored in our studio today to have a very special guest, our very own Sofaia Vodosese. She was a member of the society. She's been a key member of the society for a while, and we are grateful to be here in her presence. Well, virtually in her presence. But Sophia, her history in her work for the society has been really extensive. She's really been a pillar at the time that she's been here. She was here, and yeah, sadly she had to leave us. But you know, we are still grateful for all the things that she's done. Now, for people that aren't aware of who Sophia is and or for her accolades, she's actually been a very staple figure in the field of behavioral addiction, and she's helped work in professions like smoking cessation, and she's also had her extensive experience as well in religious groups as well as some NGOs as well. Now she graduated from the University of the South Pacific, rather, with a postgraduate diploma in psychology. And right now she is abroad, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's been abroad for a while. Now, so how's things been going with you so far? It's been a while, really. Yeah.
Yes. Well, hello, hi, Johnny.
Hi,
I
hi.
and everyone, and it's been great. It's been a new environment, and yeah, things are just unwrapping slowly. You know, slowly, but it's moving. Yeah, that's how I would say it. Yeah.
Okay. It looks like you still haven't switched off the therapy therapy talk yet.
No, no, no.
Okay, so yeah, so far it's been a minute since we've last talked, yeah. I think the
Mm,
last time we actually talked was that what was
August.
that?
Was it
Yeah,
August?
August last year when we had the presentation at the seminar, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the Area Wellness Summit in Nandi.
Mm,
Yeah, it had to do with lifestyle intervention uh, conference with with a religious group that I was working with. And the funny thing too, Johnny, I just came back from the same thing, the Area Wellness Summit from Sydney, just
oh
the
wait,
past
wow, yeah,
weekend.
okay.
From Yeah, the same thing, but it's the one that was done here for Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, and then
Wow.
now we're doing this.
Yeah. So, what was it like? Was it similar to what the one we had back in Sabeto or
Yes, similar, but it was just 200 participants. The one we went to was about
bro?
close to 1,000.
Yeah, it was so many
Yes.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, and you didn't really tell me that there was gonna be that much people. Yeah, but yeah, we had some good times though. Yeah.
Mm.
Now we had a few we had some really interesting conversations back when we were in the society,
Yep.
and a lot of it had to deal with like helping people get through certain behaviors that wasn't really good for them. Yeah,
Mm.
if you remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yep.
Now, if for our viewers, what was what exactly was the work that you did? Like, well, if you could explain it to, like, say, the layman, how would you explain the work that you used to do back when you were here?
So I used to work with Hope Clinic. That's in Suva. And one of the projects that I did was the smoking cessation program. And the smoking cessation program was just a more like a addiction recovery type of program in which it helped, but is with the help of nicotine replacement to allow someone that is addicted to smoking to uh, eventually quit it. And what me and the team did was uh, we would see them for a period of 3 months. Uh, The program was a period of 3 months, but I saw them 5 times within that 3 months, and so I would assess their level of dependence on nicotine, or the smoking level, and then I prescribed the nicotine replacement, provided we were in partnership with WHO. So they provided us with the nicotine replacements. And so we would, after they've been assessed, then I would prescribe the dosage or what is required for their dependence level. And so the first week would be, after first week, I would see them and assess, and then would re-prescribe the second week. The third week, they begin to adjust, because if they are, uh, they follow through the program honestly, it is easy for them to have a perfect change in their dependence. But as it goes along, the prescription, so usually the highest is 21 milligrams of either patches, and there's 4 milligrams for the highest was 4 milligrams for gums, and lozenges were 4 milligrams, and there was a spray which was just 1 milligram. And so when the dosage had to reduce, it would go from 21, 14, 7 milligrams.
Oh.
And then eventually they do not need it anymore. And some of them, their reason for smoking is social smoking, when they're with work colleagues or, the other function that increases their level. But other than that, they are okay to manage. But some are more dependent than the other. And so that was basically what I did in helping individuals quit smoking with the help of NLP.
Wow. You mentioned that you used substitutes, right? It was like something to help them get through what exactly was that? Was it like just patches, or was there other types of stuff that you used?
So yeah, there was patches. So patches had patches had this effect. When you put it onto your skin, it gave that dosage of nicotine right through your skin. And the other one was the chewing gum. So the chewing gum and the lozenges, which was taken orally, and as well as the spray. So what would happen was the gum is chewed, and we advise that they do not swallow the saliva, because nicotine is only effective when it's in the mouth. It's not effective when it goes into the gut, and as well as the spray. So we would ask if they do not eat anything or drink anything when they have a lozenge or a gum in their mouth, or after they've used nicotine. So that provided, other than smoking, which is, 2,000 other chemicals in that, they're just taking that one NLT, and that's it. It's just NLT, which is replacing the nicotine that they get from smoking.
Oh, okay. So that's how the substitute happens, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And
So
you
it's like telling the brain, yeah, you're still getting a dose of nicotine, but you're not smoking, and I'm happy,
Right. So it's more like you're just like tricking the brain, right?
Tricking the brain, exactly. Yeah.
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 Wow, that's amazing. And you guys ran this program for how long?
We started in 2020, and because of COVID, it was supposed to be a one-year project, but because of COVID, we overlapped into 2021, and then we got another grant for 2022. So we did it for 2 years.
Wow. And for some of the people that did come in, like, because I would understand that a lot of our listeners are probably smokers, but for those cases where they're just lighting every day, they're just cigarette after cigarette after cigarette, were some cases tougher than the rest?
Yes, there were some that were tougher. There were some that they just couldn't see themselves not smoking. Uh, there was this client of mine has been smoking for most of their lives, more like 50 years, and they're in their in they're in their 70s now, and then they came into the program and it stuck, and they were able to remove smoke out of their life completely. Those were some of the successful ones. Others tried. They were doing great first 2 weeks, first 3 weeks, and then they just couldn't. They could stick with the program, so they would go back. But I wouldn't stop encouraging them. I mean, uh, because it has been a behavior for years, it takes the brain time also to reverse that behavior.
Okay.
And and so the nicotine was part of it, and then the person, and then the profession, or myself. I was more of a nudge. I would just slowly nudge them into, or suggest their ways through to quitting, but it was mainly up to them if they would want to fully quit. And also we had the nicotine replacement there to just help them try and quit, but the whole power was upon the client or
Client,
person.
right. And that's something that a lot of people who don't really understand the realm of therapy, and because at the end of the day, really it's really up to the client, and
The
it's really
clients,
up
the
to you.
experts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. And as much as you like say, if you want someone in your family to try and change, you can't. A lot of the change, it would only be effective if the client actually initiates it, the person that you'd want to change. Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, I've seen my share of that, but then in the field of like actual smoking, because I've come across a lot of cases where they had like addictions to certain things, and that was your specialty, right? In terms of yeah, I mean, it was the field that you worked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the field that you worked in terms of behavioral addiction. Now we have, there's a huge, I mean, since COVID, there's been a lot of dependency on especially on substances. Was that sort of something that came across your area as well?
Um, Not directly though,
Mm, mm,
but I would see it, as in our society, in our communities. I would see the effects of other substances being taking just ruining lives.
mm,
There was I'm not gonna, well, in a community that I came across there, for some reason there was, well, this was one of my experience. I went into there was this community, and then they were sort of, I think they were consuming alcohol, and after that everything just sounded and looked different. Like it wasn't just alcohol that was being consumed. I think it was another type of recreational substance, but it was scary. It was really scary because the person wasn't themselves. I mean, I know alcohol takes a toll on somebody, but this was totally different. And
wow.
yeah, I felt a bit, like, not sure what the right word for it, worried, or for our community, for
Mm,
our children, and I mean this type of substance coming into our communities where some of us don't even know its effect,
mm, right, right,
and how it's affecting the person themselves who is taking it and the person around them.
right.
Because
I
yeah,
sorry, you gonna say something? Yeah.
I mean that was in the night, and in the morning, when it came, the person was totally out of it. lifeless.
Mm.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
wasn't because I've seen experience with just alcohol, somebody just been alcohol, but that was totally different. So I didn't really place what type of, yeah, that was an experience that I just thought, oh, we might have to, you know, have to look into these other substances that we have in our community. And I know I mean, the news, the, there's been news about it. There's been reportings about it. It'll be great for our society in this platform to understand more about those other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I take it that the substance you're talking about is those hard drugs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you can sort of see it now. It's really scary because you know 20 years ago, 15 years ago, even or even 10 years ago, we didn't really have that as like an issue, right? And then all of a sudden now these things are readily available on the streets and it's easily accessible to anyone. Anyone can get it if you just have money. You could just walk on the street and this is literally, one in like every corner or something.
Yeah.
And it's scary now because I think the availability of it and the pressure of society, like the pressures of everything, it's sort of like it's it's made it sort of like an easier fallback whenever you face hard times. It's because it's more accessible and because you could just you could just literally pick up the phone or go on Facebook or message and then you could have your supply. And everybody's really just going through their difficult times and then finding this as an outlet. I guess it's scary because what happens, like you mentioned, is that the people are everybody's just different as they react differently, and then sometimes they get more aggressive, and sometimes it really affects them, and they're out of it the next morning. Now, yeah, I can't really imagine like what it would be like because that's not the field that I mean, I don't really have experience in that field, but in terms of like withdrawals of because your field was smoking, right? In terms of excessive addiction and in terms of like how they would feel the need to just access it every day because they felt like their life wasn't complete without it. Like that's common with a lot of people that smoke and that drink. Now, in those types of cases, like how do you try to help them like rationalize that this move to recovery is something that will actually benefit you? Like how do you help them try and get into that recovery state, like try to change their mindset?
Um, one of the first ones that I usually put on the table is financially. Just think about it. A packet of cigarette, how much is it? $15? 18? And then how many do you smoke in a day? And so if they smoke 10 in a day, so if you're buying a packet of 10, 15 a day, 15 by 5, you know, uh, 15 by 5, that's $30. No, that's not $30. 15 $15
The
by
maths is a
five
bit bad.
by 5 days. Yeah, you multiplying that. You multiplied by a week, then a month, and then you deduct it from your salary, and
Mm,
then like you paint the picture. You paint. I paint the picture for them and see how much money is being taken away from when they're using it to smoke. And
right.
then the other thing was their health, which is one of the most important things of a human being. Someone that I would ask, they would like to see their grandkids. They would like to see their daughter graduate, their family. They didn't want to end up in the hospital because smoking is just. I mean, as a some or as a young person, sometimes smoking is like the most coolest thing that
Yeah, yeah.
you know. Like it just puts you up the popularity level for if you're in high school. But then we're not educated. We are educated, but there's just not enough awareness provided that is linked with psychological health as well as physical, that how it affects it. Like we're seeing graphs, of what happens to the lungs, what happens to the organs, and so those are some of the things that I would say, how it affects your health and how uh, you'll be limited at a certain age with regards to your health. And the other thing was the way their lifestyle. Uh, After 2 or 3 weeks of being off their cigarette, they would begin to find that their taste comes back, their sense of smell comes back, the senses that has been deteriorating for a while, it comes back to them, and they say the food tastes better than before. I can, the scent is better, or when I'm breathing or smelling something, it's more clearer than before. So it's
Right,
just that's along the line of smoke. It's different for other substances.
right, right, right. Now, say for example, like because here in like where I'm studying, and cigarettes are really expensive here. Like
Yeah, the $35.
yeah, they're $35. They're $35. This is just for like a packet of 20. So
Mm,
for those that are listening in, like say your BH20, the BH20 that you normally buy like before you go for that grog session. Yeah, over here it's like $30. It's
yeah,
30, 35,
yeah.
35 at least.
Mm,
And then what they do is that the labels are like huge, like the warning labels. The labels actually have like depictions of people who are actually sick, like people who have brain tumors, people who have cancer in their throat, and then it's really just like the government's way of trying to like really get people to second guess that okay, should I really buy this smoke? Yeah, but I mean, all this they have all these measures here, and I don't know. Would it happen like if, from your perspective, do you think that if the government back home were to do something like this, or if the people in power were to do something like this, do you think that some of the effects of smoking might be cut down, or do you think this is really just a behavioral thing?
Well, I think they're already doing that. You know how I would hear this I would hear this when I'm at the cashier in Fiji, and then somebody wants a BH10 or BH20, and they'll just say, "Give me cancer, or give me the pregnant lady."
Yeah,
They say it that way, in a normal way, and it's just, yeah. I'm just worried when they do that, because they're calling it out. I mean, there's the what is depicted on the packet is what will happen, the result of smoking. But they're calling it out as, no, the cancer tastes better than the one with the pregnant lady, or the lung tastes better than. They would
yeah,
actually do that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've seen that too before, and but there was this one time, like I saw that there was this sort of like this understanding, like there was this more like a myth or preconceived idea, yeah, like that if you bought this particular sickness on the label, you would only get, like, say, if I didn't want to get like heart problems or something, then I'd get like the one with the brain tumor on it. Like, yeah, yeah, and that was the thing. Like that was the thing, and I think probably with time, and then people started to get bit more educated, and like people were made more aware. Now, now that we're on the topic of awareness, like, do you think that in our communities there is enough awareness, or do you think that there's still some room that needs to be there's still some room for improvement?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. We had a conversation once um, with a gentleman at the clinic, and I won't mention, but uh, there was this smoking cigarette has become more like a monetary, has gone into a monetary form. For example, in a village, if a if the village man asks uh, that he needs this side or a forest to be cleared, he will tell them, "Okay, I'll give you this suki, and you know, I'll give you the suki, and then you guys can go and clear this." And the young man will just go right ahead and do it. Like it
Wow.
has become that type of
So it's a form of currency now.
yes, yes,
Wow.
and they would do that. So trying to, I mean, there is still a lot of for for improvement, for awareness in our community because it has gone to that level.
Wow. Wow. I think in the villages I have seen that. It's just I've never really thought of it like in that sort of perspective, and it's scary to see that a lot of people are really jumping at the opportunity to like, oh, okay, sir,
Yeah,
I want
that's
to have
free.
my set of
That's
suki
free.
for
Yeah,
the grog session this afternoon. I just need to go wearing a bonoya and all that stuff. And yeah, I think I think because people normally associate like the good feelings of it
yep,
with like this that actual product, like with suki and with tobacco, like they all normally associate just a good feeling instead of like trying to look at it from the perspective of health. And yeah, it's now like now because we have something in common. Like we've actually been part of we've been working in the field of psychology for a while, and we've had our experiences. Now, how do you think like psychology as a whole like ties into this whole like trying to be trying to better yourself as a person, trying to limit all these behavioral addiction? Like what was the model that you guys used in order to try and get people to
um,
just cut off habits? Yeah.
first of all, the client has to understand neuroeducation. Okay, going back to the body, going to the brain. So what happens is, why does a person smoke? Why are they addicted to something? It could be anything. And I've come to learn that there's about 11 behavioral addiction. And this
Wow.
includes gambling. This includes gambling, food, exercise, work, love, pornography, and cyber sex. You have gaming, and you have social media. There's 11 altogether, according to a book written by Amanda Gerdo. Gerdo.
Yeah.
I'll send you
Yeah.
the
Well, we could put the book up
yeah.
on our links on the links of
Mm.
this video, so yeah, so the public can see. Yeah.
Mm. And why a person does that is because it's a rewarding behavior, just like you said just now. It's a feel good behavior. So I was thinking of a most simple example to talk about this is how, okay, let's say a child finds a Milo, a can of Milo in the pantry or whatnot, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
they go and they eat that dry Milo, and then that's a stimulated behavior. And then it tells them, while they're eating that, it tells the brain that, oh, that's rewarding, that's nice. And then the brain adapts, sketches out a map or remembers that procedure through the neurons transmitted. So what happens is when the child takes that Milo and eats it, it 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 rewards that behavior. It gives them dopamine and serotonin. These are those neurotransmitters in your brain. Then your brain begins to formulate a map. So every other time this child wants to feel good, the child goes back, follows the brain tells them, oh, you go back and get that Milo's in the pantry and you will feel. The same thing goes to addiction. The same thing goes to any type of addiction comes, any type of any type of addiction that goes from gambling, from to smoking, alcohol, other substances, and that happens. So what happens is there's a baseline of let's say feeling good. There's a baseline, and then when there's two different uh, types where you are able to control the addiction. I mean the usage of something, or when you're not able. When you're not able to, that becomes a problem.
Right.
So what happens is within that baseline, to be able to reach a euphoric experience, you sort of double the dosage, or you keep on using the substance, whatever it is, and then your experience or your euphoric experience just skyrockets, and you feel good. You feel that the activity is just rewarding, and you want more. And when you're not able to control that, that becomes an addiction.
Oh, okay. So the analogy of the boy with the mind routine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in that sorts of cases, like when you've hit addiction, like when you're there, like for someone that is listening in and is probably going through something that they're addicted to, like what would be the advice that you'd give them? Like what would be something that you'd tell?
Well, um, know that the the you are rewarding the behavior, and if it has reached a negative level, in the sense that you're overly addicted to it. The most important thing to do is to just find a professional to help you, somebody that's working in mental health, or a counselor, or a psychologist, um, just to help you understand it, because you have to understand the basics first. Then then you will be able to carry through on what you need to do, because it varies, and people are different with their addiction. Some some have very high tolerance, or very high what you call euphoric experiences, while others have midway, and others are able to control and all that. So there's a ton of influencing that could or factors that will affect the or what you call delivering, or attending to
Right, right, right.
whichever addiction that they're going.
Yeah. Because I mean, I can only imagine like the amount of people that are out there, that have some sort of addiction, whether it be to alcohol or other drugs, or whether it be to gambling, and I sometimes you can see it in like the way that they present themselves, and sometimes you can see that they know that that's something that they shouldn't be doing, but then you can almost see the conflict in their eyes. Like they know that they're not supposed to be doing, like say for someone who is addicted to food, like like someone that is addicted to junk food, rather, or addicted to unhealthy types of food. Like you can tell that they understand the consequences of what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know that that they know that it's wrong. They know that if they keep doing this, it's going to present health problems. It's going to just make life difficult, and the quality of life won't really be as good as it can be. But then you can almost see that helpless battle in their eyes whenever they in that addictive within that addictive activity. Like you can see them consuming that product, and you know just just for that small dopamine hit after. But then if you weigh out this that small dopamine hit compared to the consequences that come after, it's just a huge mismatch. And then I'm glad that they have people like you that are doing this type of work and trying to get people to reframe their thoughts. Yeah.
Mm.
Now, in terms of, because just for the people back home, the, the the people that are watching in now, Sofaia, she graduated from USP, and she pursued the field of psychology. She became really well respected in her different workplaces that she was at. Now, because this is the Psych Talk podcast, what actually made you get into psychology? Because it's a field that not really a lot of people go into, because it's not as rewarding as in terms of money and things like that. But what made you pursue psychology as a profession?
So I was, I think, going towards my last year of foundation with USP, and I'm an art student, so I was more focused. I'm more familiar with theories and all these things. So I was with sociology. So I was thinking maybe I'll pursue my career with sociology or social work or something along those lines. But then I think I had a tutor that introduced psychology. And so my understanding of sociology was we studying humans in society. And then psychology came into the picture where I study human behavior. So if you put, I study human behavior first, then I study human in society, that just makes sense. So yeah, so that's how I went choosing psychology as I did a double major with psychology and sociology. And as I was studying through it, I began to realize one of our, I think, assessments or essays that we had to do was to explain uh, why did we choose psychology, and there were some questions, and we've gone through the lectures also. And for some reason, I just looked back at my life and I thought, uh, I think I needed a psychologist in my younger days, or as I was growing. I needed somebody like myself to talk. If I needed somebody like me as who I am now to talk to when I was young, because uh, I didn't have that. I was not usually a person that would open up easily to anyone. I had my grandmother, and that was it. And, yeah, I just thought to myself, well, what made me go into that was I had to while doing psychology, I had to see two counselors in US, and it really helped because I had some traumatic experience that I needed to get out of my system, and I just didn't know where I needed that to be. I didn't know where can I vent to, or where could I unload those 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 experiences. So yeah, that's how it made it more personal for me to go into the field of psychology.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. And I think a lot of people, they do they do this. I mean, they really pursue this profession because of, they had gone through something as well in their life. Now,
Yeah.
here, during one of our lectures, our professor told us about the concept of the broken helper. The broken helper. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah, yeah. And so, there's always been that part of someone who enters this field that they have been through something, and just providing that good feeling, or preventing someone else from into going, preventing someone else from going through what they went through, or preventing, or making the quality of life for someone else better. It's always been
Yeah,
like a rewarding feeling in this profession. And yeah, but it's always come as a result of some sort of like some sort
experience.
of yeah some sort of
Yeah,
experience. And a lot of a lot of people, and I know people who take psychology, they can probably agree with me here that a lot of people they tend to sort of find out a lot about themselves whenever
Yes.
they're in this course. Right.
Mm.
And was that an experience for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That was doing those assessments where you had to character find your character, your main
Yeah.
characters of yeah, what those. I think there was a doctor. I forgot his name, but he was from Canada. We did an assessment at during our lectures, and it just changed a lot of things. Like you see yourself in a uh, different perspective, and you think you know yourself. When I did psychology, it was just a totally different character that you never thought, you never knew, and then you begin to find yourself in the course and the activities and the assessments that we would go through. Just looking at your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses. Yeah, that made that made sense to me, and pursuing this on.
Right, right. And you know, in because you went all the way from a degree to right to a postgrad, and altogether that's about 5 years, or was it six?
6. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 years. 6 years, yeah. So 6 years of study, 6 years of study, and then you have the certain levels after that. Now, pursuing psychology, what was it like? Like, was there a lot of highs and was there a lot of lows, like in terms of your experience?
Well, uh, there's the financial aspect of it. So
Yeah.
within the years of me doing my degree and postgraduate, I was doing part-time work, uh, yeah, with different organizations, and so I had to manage work and study. And so I was a private student also, so that was another load for, I mean, another burden. But I've had a question. Those who question me about psychology, like, was it hard? And I will just look back and say, I knew there was something hard there, but I've gone through it. I don't know which one of it was hard, but it's just I don't know. But when you find a passion to do something, everything seems a bit. It's not difficult. It's not as bad as when you love to do something that because it's
Right.
more you complain more, you disagree more when you don't like something. But when you love to do something, it's a walk in the park.
Mm, mm. I mean, that's we have some very different experiences, but yeah, it's you're very true there, and it's really good to find something that that your heart is in. Like when you know that your
Yeah,
heart is there, and then you know that every day doesn't seem like it's work, that's when you do the best work.
yeah,
And I'm always thankful that we had some really great teachers back in
yes,
USB.
yeah,
Yeah, we had some really great teachers back in USB, and Dr. Nita, we had Alpha back in for
yeah,
health psychology.
yeah,
We had Dr. Johnson was there. Yeah, we
yeah.
had Dr.
Dr.
Galen.
Galen, yeah,
Yeah, Dr.
yeah,
Galen. Yeah, we had some really good lecturers, and I
mm,
think that was for a lot of people that did psychology around that time. That was
yeah,
probably one of like an additional contributing factor towards
yeah.
why it was so rewarding, because we had really great teachers, and
Mm.
teachers that really taught us from like uh, like the real
Ground level.
practicalities. Yeah, the grassroots level of psychology, and
Mm.
it was really great. And and I'm just really glad to have been part of that experience. And I know from what you said, you really it really sounded like it was a real transformative journey for you.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, the assignments and overnight and yeah, those are still there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it pays off though. It pays off.
It does pay off. It does pay off. Now, because after that, we sort of joined the society together. Yeah, I
Yes,
think
yeah,
we joined what, a year after each other, or was
I
it?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, in that, how do you think that the society, like, how was the society's experience for you? Because, I mean, you're still a member, but you're in a different country. And, uh,
Yeah.
how was the experience for you?
Um, it brought you. It was there was an you're able to you find out that there's other psychologists
Mm.
because Fiji at the moment, unfortunately, does not recognize psychologists yet as a practice.
Yeah,
But then to know that there are mentors, there are different uh, specialists with psychology in Fiji, and they're working in different areas, and they bring all that knowledge in, and you're able to, there's professional development within the Fiji Psychology Society. That's rewarding in itself. So you just come out of school, or if you're still in USP or you're still in college, and then you join the association, it just makes you, you involved, or you're part of something big, and you're part of a network that that is uh, that is there to help you, to mentor you through your work experience or through your studies as well.
yeah.
And I'm always looking forward to those professional development
The
sessions,
CPDs. Yeah,
CPDs,
yeah,
the
yeah.
CPDs that we would have, and you have different speakers and different specialties that speak within the association. Or sometimes you'd get a guest, but it was informative, and it helped a lot.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm. No, as a profession, because you mentioned earlier that psychology isn't really a recognized profession as we'd want it to be. But if we're being really serious here, if we're looking at the landscape of our society, and if we're looking at the landscape of the social problems that are around, we do you think that someday, there might be sort of that recognition that we really need, we really need more skilled practitioners out there. We really need people who can do the job to help, alleviate some of the pressure of what these society problems are. Because, I mean, every day, there's always going to be some sort of an issue that someone goes through. And, that whole developmental pathway for being a person, it's having to overcome certain things, having to overcome problems and stuff. Now, do you think in the next 10 years, like, what do you think the landscape in Fiji would be like in terms of psychology?
I really think that we should have we should be already established in our community, in our country, in our towns right now, because mental health has always been there. The 1700s, 1800s, it's been there, but it wasn't recognized as mental health. It would rather be some a demonic experience, but it was there, and
Right.
it was there, and it has. And through COVID, you know, mental health issues just skyrocketed, and people were just mentally challenged. No, that's not the word. I think everyone just had an experience with their psychological health. They, some they there was loss. There was no social relations. There was no any type of community. All of this is for us Fijians. We are community people, and we like to interact. And when that was allowed, it affected everyone so much. And so, I really hope that that we as a Fiji psychology society that we begin uh, that we be recognized in our communities, in our society, and that become a practice so that we treat our clients and the community at a level that is required, at a standard that will help the person strive, and that we don't cause a lot more damage.
Mm, mm,
Our input is just to allow the person to thrive psychologically, and we attend to them, or we nurture them as they take the journey to healing. Because a lot of our society have that, and it's sad that some, of our society, some have been traumatically, they have had some very traumatic experience, and it hasn't been attended to, and there's another generation, and they go through the same thing in another generation, and some of them just think, oh, it's inherited, but it's actually psychological, and if we address that, it would help with everything.
mm. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's scary how generational trauma it sort of seeps down. It seeps down, and people tend to assume that it's normal to act a
Yeah.
certain type of way.
Mm.
And really, it's just from the result of like traumas that didn't get resolved, things that didn't. And you bring up a great point, having it passed down. And yeah, it's something that we can work towards together,
Mm.
but it'll really take everyone holding hands and just moving forward, and just firstly recognizing that these are issues and trying to move forward together.
Mm.
Now, you mentioned something like around the lines of we are there, but we're not as mainstream as we'd like. Yeah. Now, but I think it's still amazing though, the amount of work that practitioners that do exist, because they don't get the credit that they deserve, or they don't, and really anybody in this profession, they don't really do it for the credit really. But there's a lot of practitioners that are out there that are doing great and amazing work, and it's just there. A lot of it is just flying under the radar. And there's some great CSOs like your organization, the whole organization that you are part of. Like, you guys did some amazing work. And there's also some other organizations like Empower Pacific, Lifeline. We have MSP that's out there. And then you have some of these other organizations that also have counseling centers as well. And also there's also the other private practitioners that are out there doing their work, and a lot of them are really just doing it because, people ask them, and then it's out of their goodwill to help. And because a lot of these CSOs and these NGOs, a lot of their services are free to the public, right? And they have, they have the odd income generating project, but then a lot of their major services are free. And it just shows the like the dedication and passion of people towards the craft, which is psychology. Like, for yourself, I mean, you were in a profession where you were helping people on the daily, and then but at the end of the day, it's not like we get awards or medals for it, and it's not like we ask for it. But then it's really a profession that requires us to be able to reflect in ourselves on the reason why we're doing this. And yeah, it's really something special, to witness that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of practitioners that are out here that are doing amazing work. And hopefully they can be on the show yeah, for some reason. But yeah, I'm digressing here. But yeah, anyways, Ah, man. So in terms of like, if you were to leave with a comment, like if you were to leave somewhere with a comment, what would be, your view on trying to get people to just improve the standard of their life? Like, what would be a tip and advice from Sophia if you had
Oh,
like that corner?
uh, that's a good one.
Oh,
Well,
you might want to put the mic.
right, right. Well, if I had to, if I had to say a lot, last message or like to say something, I think it'd be along the lines of taking care of your physical health will improve your mental health. Because I've been around. My field has been in line with lifestyle medicine, and usually from that perspective, when you begin to take care of your physical health, in the sense of uh, what you eat, your physical, the food you eat, the the water, the exercise, exposing yourself to sunlight, all these basic things. When you begin to take care of your physical health, it automatically fits well with your mental health, and then you're able to have a clearer, clearer view on what you need to do. But always keeping in mind that when you're not able to do so for yourself by yourself, try and find a professional health worker. Try and find a psychologist that will help. Because we're out here, like Tony has said, we're out here. You just need to find someone, and we'll be willing to help. We'll be willing to help and guide you through those uh, those journeys that make it very difficult. So my take is just taking care of your physical health, watching what you eat, watching what you drink, your sleeping pattern, drinking water, exposure to sunlight. It's just those main things. When you take care of that, it you should be you should do well. You should. I mean, it'll take care of a lot of because with most of our clients, those are some of the remedies that we would suggest, and
Mm,
it has been scientifically proven very help
right.
healing. So yeah,
Right. Now, I had one last question, right?
yeah, sure,
Like, so, because I think for a lot of people that are out there, like sometimes because you mentioned earlier in the show and before while we were talking, like sometimes addiction comes about socially as a result of who you are within your social circle, right?
yeah,
Now, for a lot of us that understand, the Yangwana culture or the drinking culture or the smoking culture,
yeah,
a lot of it also has, that's all right. Yeah. A lot of it also has like its links to, our cultural sense, like a lot of, like say, addiction and a lot of, abuse of smoking, kava, and alcohol normally takes place in like very cultural events. And like say, for example, like in a birthday, if anyone's been to a Fijian birthday or anyone's been to a birthday in Fiji, you tend to understand that how much substances is consumed during that time. And yeah, it's all, you're having fun and you're celebrating, but there's certain times when it starts to just diverge into sort of like an addiction. Like there's I've seen some cases where they they would celebrate a birthday, and the birthday would last for like 3 days or something. Like, like they just be continuous drinking. And I'm wondering, what's your take on this? Like, is this linked to alcohol, or is it something that's really just like a norm that was passed down and we never really sort of checked it? And if it's so, like, how do we better that, being that, it's really affecting a lot of.
Well, the first thing, it's culture. It's cultural, right? So we have to address the fact that it is part of culture, but we also have to be temperate with everything that, that we do, only to a certain amount or certain, not going over, like if you're going drinking just a few glasses, or if you're eating just a certain amount. And I mean, I have come to learn that when you discipline yourself with temperament, you're able to uh, achieve a lot more. Not only in that area with food, and you're able to achieve a lot more with life itself. So I mean, it is unfortunate that it has come into our culture to be part of it, but we can still address it. And I think also we need a lot more awareness in those areas, and need uh, well, we need to all need to do that together and use the media, because platforms like Facebook and all the social media platforms to advocate on those type of issues and how we can address them. This is acronym that we usually use. I've been repeating them, which is New Start.
Sorry, say that again.
New Start.
New Start,
Yeah.
right?
So N looks at nutrition, E for exercise, W for your water intake. This is a healthy lifestyle. So S for sunlight, exposure to sunlight gives you that vitamin. And then there is temperament, T, and then A for air, R for rest, and T for trusting in divine power. So if you have that in your life, lifestyle, I'm sure it will help you. If you have that in your lifestyle, it will really help you and the people around.
Right. Right.
Because it begins with us first, with individuals, then we're able to change. One step at a time, and you're able to do it. So if we begin to do that for example, which is unless this is totally different. No one would want to do this. For example, if you as a person begin to you have a birthday celebration, and then you say there will be only vegetables for our birthday. Imagine the amount of people come to your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like, starting off like that. Or doing like there'll be limited drink or limited, like these little things. In our culture is not so common. When we begin to make small steps like this, it could really help us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a huge, it would be a beneficial culture change. Like, it would help. Like, if you look at the NCD rates, it's really high. It's really high. Like, and it hasn't really gone down in the past few years. It's just been skyrocketing.
No.
And I think, like you mentioned a great point about, making these small changes, because I think if we just try to impose like a huge change, it's not really
Yeah.
it won't really be as effective. Now, uh, you're here, in Australia now, yeah? You're in Australia. Uh, what's the situation for you there now? What are you doing?
Well, at the moment, I'm currently just doing some short courses.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so A few of them is what we've been discussing on behavioral addiction, and another one that I'm going to is allied positive psychology. So yeah, having positive psychology is another element to success or to a better life. I think there'll be another topic for another day. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll topic for another day because sadly we are running out of time. Right? And once again, Sophia, I'd like to thank you so much for being a part of today's show. To our subscribers, if you want to contact Sophia, you could just find her on Facebook. Just call, message her directly. But if you feel like you want to contact the society, our email address will be in the link, just be in our bio. And yeah, if you do feel like you want to discuss anything, or if you feel like you have questions, please just drop a comment on under our post, or drop a comment under our YouTube channel, and yeah, we'll get right back to you. Thank you again, Sophia, for everything. Thank you for the words of wisdom, and thank you for like letting us know about all the things that you feel and all the things that you've understood about your work.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And yeah, you can catch our next episode next week. So yeah, good night, everybody, and hope you have a good one. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you.